In a typical day, a socially connected brain stayed in calibration. Quick chats, shared routines, even small nods from familiar people acted like steady feedback. They helped the brain decide what mattered, what could wait, and what felt safe. That everyday contact also helped regulate the body. Stress systems rose when they needed to, then settled back down. Mood stayed more even. Thinking stayed clearer, because the brain did not spend extra energy scanning for danger or guessing what others meant. Over time, connection worked like a buffer. Support softened bad news, laughter eased tension, and simple belonging reduced the weight of problems. The brain learned a basic rule: other people meant resources, perspective, and relief. That baseline kept everything steadier. Then the contact stopped. Calls ended, faces disappeared, and the brain noticed the change fast. It treated that sudden gap like danger, not comfort. A simple absence became a signal. Something in the environment had shifted. Stress systems kicked in, hormones rose, heart rate and breathing stayed easier to trigger, and the body prepared for problems that never arrived. The mind scanned for clues, replayed worries, and struggled to stand down. The alarm stayed on. Without other people to steady the system, the brain relied on older survival settings. Small noises, small thoughts, small uncertainties carried more weight. Rest felt less safe. The result looked like vigilance, but it functioned like a trap. After a few days, the brain stopped trusting the clock. Without regular contact to anchor the day, bedtime slipped, wake-ups drifted, and sleep came in lighter, broken chunks. It looked small. It changed everything. That drift pushed the body out of sync. Stress signals stayed higher into the night, and mornings no longer reset cleanly. Tiredness piled up, but real rest did not arrive on schedule. Fatigue turned ordinary problems into sharp ones. With poor sleep, emotional control weakened. Small annoyances felt personal, patience ran out faster, and mood swung with minor setbacks. The mind reacted before it reflected. Isolation did not just feel lonely, it made stability harder to hold. After a few weeks, with only thin, irregular contact, the brain kept scanning for danger. It treated uncertainty like a warning sign. Small surprises felt bigger. The mind leaned toward worst-case explanations, even when nothing clearly went wrong. Without regular people to check reality against, neutral moments started to look suspicious. A delayed message seemed like rejection. A brief silence felt like disapproval. The brain filled in blanks fast, and it usually filled them with threat. That shift then fed on itself. Each negative guess raised stress, and stress sharpened the search for more problems. Confidence in other people dropped, even without proof. Weeks in, isolation no longer just felt lonely, it felt unsafe. After long enough alone, the brain's reward system shifted. The small signals that once pushed someone into action weakened. Getting started felt heavier. It was not just sadness, it was a quieter change. Drive slipped, even when nothing actively hurt. Pleasure also dulled. Music, food, a favorite show, even a short message from a friend produced less lift. The brain learned to expect less payoff, so it spent less effort. That expectation became self-fulfilling, and days began to flatten. Then withdrawal spread to the easiest connections. Replying to a text felt strangely demanding. A quick call sounded tiring before it even started. As motivation dropped and reward faded, avoidance looked like relief, and the less contact happened, the less worth it seemed. As isolation dragged on, thinking no longer stayed sharp. Attention slipped more easily, and the mind wandered at the wrong moments. Working memory held less at once, so simple steps got lost. What once felt automatic started requiring effort. That weakness piled up fast. Planning fell apart because the brain struggled to keep goals in view. New information failed to stick, not from a lack of intelligence, but from reduced mental bandwidth. Tasks took longer, and mistakes became more common. Self-control weakened too. With less working memory and shaky attention, impulses won more often, and routines broke. It became harder to start, harder to persist, and harder to stop. The result looked like laziness, but it came from strain. After long stretches alone, the brain treated social interaction less like a habit and more like a challenge. Circuits that once ran automatically got less practice. Reading faces, timing responses, and tracking tone started to require real effort. Small moments that used to feel easy began to feel loaded. A simple phone call demanded focus. A casual chat drained energy. With fewer social reps, the mind missed cues, spoke too much or too little, and then remembered the awkward parts. That discomfort taught a quick lesson. Avoid the next interaction. The avoidance then kept the social circuitry even less conditioned, and the rust built faster. The person expected it to be hard, it felt hard, and the loop reinforced itself. Over time, the stress response stayed switched on. Breathing and heart rate ran higher, muscles stayed tense. The body acted like danger never passed, and that constant strain sent signals back up to the brain. At the same time, isolation often meant less movement. Long hours sitting slowed metabolism and weakened sleep. The immune system shifted into a low, simmering inflammatory state, and the brain received those chemical messages. Inflammation did not just affect joints or the gut, it reached mood and energy. People felt heavier, slower, more tired, and less hopeful. That drop in motivation led to even less activity, and the loop tightened. When contact finally returned, many people expected instant relief. Some parts of the brain did rebound fast, stress signals eased, and attention started to steady, but the system did not reset cleanly. It came back online in a guarded, touchy state. After time alone, ordinary social input carried more weight. A small comment felt sharper. A busy room felt too loud. The brain treated faces, voices, and eye contact like high-intensity data. That hypersensitivity pushed the body toward anxiety before anyone understood why. Others felt the opposite at first. They looked present, but emotionally they stayed flat, as if the signal did not reach them. That numbness still fit the rebound. The brain protected itself by dampening feeling, then slowly relearned safe connection through repeated exposure. Isolation became easier to slip into than ever. Messages and feeds created the feeling of contact, but they often lacked the steady back and forth that kept people grounded. The old baseline of everyday connection got replaced by long stretches of being alone. In that new setup, loneliness stayed hidden in plain sight. It did not always look dramatic. It worked slowly, day after day, nudging stress higher, dulling motivation, and making the outside world feel more risky. The brain adapted to less people. And once that shift settled in, it started shaping behavior. People avoided calls, postponed plans, and lost the habit of reaching out. Relief came only when connection got rebuilt on purpose, with regular contact that trained the brain back towards safety again.